Tune in to the Real Estate Roundup with the River Counties Association of Realtors every Saturday at 8:30 on Mix 104.1. They'll explore the latest in local real estate, whether you're buying, selling, or just love real estate. Don't miss the expert advice and exclusive insights. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and explore the dynamic world of real estate in the vibrant River Counties community. Catch Real Estate Roundup and make your property dreams a reality.
Hello, welcome to the River County Realtor Association Real Estate Roundup. Today, our guest is Jonathan Kraft from Kraft Realtors. So welcome, Jonathan.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, it's great to have you, and hope our buyers and sellers out there and our listening audience get to know a little bit more about you and what you can do for them.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
So let's get into this here, and first, let's talk about yourself a little bit too. How long have you been in the business?
So going on 8 years. November will be 8 years for me.
Awesome. Goes by quick, right?
It really does. Yeah, definitely.
So if I'm a buyer out there, buyers right now, rates are starting to move a little bit. People are starting to say, okay, wait, maybe I need to start looking, and rents are getting higher, and now they're thinking of home ownership. So, understanding the buyer's needs, what's the first step you'd recommend for someone, looking to buy a home right now in today's market?
Sure. I think the first step really has to be to define a clear budget and figure out what your needs are. And by defining a budget, really what that entails is going to speak to a lender. Without talking to a lender, you really don't know what you're able to get a loan for. What you can afford or what you may even be paying currently for rent or whatever doesn't necessarily mean that that's how much you're going to be approved for. So that would be the first step, and then we can get together to map out your must-haves from your like-to-haves, and then just get a clear path forward.
So, in other words, everybody's wish list is a little different than what we're actually going to get, probably?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So, and we're all there. It doesn't matter what price point you're at. It always seems to be the case. Right?
Yeah, there's no such thing as a perfect house.
Right.
Even if you build one, it's not perfect.
So, all right, can you walk us through then, how do you customize your services, to meet the unique needs of each buyer? Because as we just said, every buyer is a little different. So, if I come to you, what are we going to start off with?
Well, really, with my buyers, I always start off with a buyer's interview process where I basically ask questions and make sure that I'm listening to what they really want. It's not only about just taking down an order sheet of I want 3 bedrooms, I want 2 bathrooms, things like that. It's more the why behind those things and really having a conversation to make sure that I'm able to get a house that fits the needs of your family. So once we sit down and have that interview, then from there, I'm able to show you properties that are going to match your criteria. And then staying in constant communication through the process is important too, because concerns, through the process or even changes in what you're looking for, we need to make sure to address those right away and keep us from going down the wrong path and wasting your time.
Yeah, definitely. And I would assume, right, constant communication obviously is always going to be the key, with
Absolutely.
anybody.
Yeah.
And doing that. And
We're partners in this.
Sure. So you're going to pay my mortgage?
Yeah.
Okay. Said we're partners.
Right. Not that kind of partner.
No, all right. Hey, let's talk a little bit then on the market insights. The market's obviously been changing back and forth over the last number of years and month to month and everything. And, people get confused of good time, bad time, or what. But how do you stay on top of, the market trends, current market conditions, especially like in Cleveland, and our surrounding areas here? What do you do to keep up with all that?
Sure. Well, the first thing I do is, the first thing I do every morning is review the market statistics. I want to see what's coming on the market, what's sold, really get an idea of what's happening in the market and where it's going. I attend meetings and conferences both on the state and national level, to make sure that I have all of the current information. But the market in Cleveland right now especially is quite dynamic. There's a steady demand for homes, and we're still seeing well-priced properties moving pretty quickly. So Nice thing right now is that we find ourselves in a more balanced market, which is allowing buyers to have a little bit less stressful time buying a house than, say, 2 years ago.
So you're starting to see a little bit more steadiness in the inventory then too, and a little bit more choices?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more inventory, more choices, and that's definitely a good thing. The more choices buyers have keeps them from feeling like they have to settle.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. And I know it can be emotional and stressful, and but it sounds like you can keep them on even path, right, to get to where they need to be.
Yeah, I really try to break things down into manageable steps, so it's not too overwhelming. I'm going to handle as much of the process as possible so that clients can focus on the excitement of finding their new home and not the weighing down of the process that I can usually take a lot of that off of them. So I try to keep the mood light and fun,
Sure.
when we're out viewing properties, and I want this to be a smooth and exciting time for you. So I want to head off some of the things that could go wrong, before they do go wrong.
And that's the key is, as a buyer, like we said, it's emotional. But knowing that I got somebody that's going to keep me on the right path, and I don't have to worry about myself becoming the realtor and understanding all this, you're going to help me understand it all as we go through the process.
That's right. If buyers feel like they are not working with someone that has control of the situation, buyers feel like they have to take control in order for it to be done right. And so my goal is to make you feel comfortable enough that you're able to give me the reins and help me guide the process to keep it smooth.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's switch a little bit then. Well, first of all, give our listening audience your contact information, whether it's website, email, phone number, whatever you'd like to give so people know how to reach out to you.
Sure, most certainly. So once again, name's Jonathan Kraft, and with Crowlike Realtors. My cell phone number is 423-284-8004. And then you can reach me through my website at rightmovetn, as in Tennessee.com, or Jonathan at rightmovetn.com for an email.
Awesome. Okay. So let's move on to the seller side then a little bit. So what are some key steps that sellers should take to prepare their home for the market? What do you want them to do before you're ready to open that up to everybody?
Sure, definitely. First impressions are everything. If somebody walks up to the door and they can't quite get the key unlocked, or the knob doesn't really work, or the door squeaks when it opens, from that point forward, buyers are going to be nitpicking everything, because they're going to be like, oh, well, if the door's not maintained, what else is not maintained? And they're looking for issues. Whereas if getting into that house and your first impression when you walk in is good, they're going to be more relaxed and more in the zone of is this house going to work for me, rather than trying to pick it apart. So first impressions are everything. I also recommend to my clients a pre-listing inspection. That is something that I actually provide for my clients. I hire an inspector to do a pre-listing inspection to make sure that if there's anything that you don't know about, that we're finding out about that before we're under contract and before somebody decides to walk away, and then now we're 2-3 weeks down the road and you realize that there's a problem. So we want to kind of head that off up front. And then also, we want to make sure that you're able to set a competitive price, something that you're not leaving any money on the table, but, that we're able to get a quick sell.
So the pre-listing inspection, so then the inspector is basically going to walk through that whole house, do its full inspection, like if a buyer was ordering up that inspection.
That's right. That's right. And I've found that oftentimes, if I provide that inspection to potential buyers that are looking, a lot of times I've seen us get as-is offers on stuff, because if they already know kind of what to expect, it makes the offer process a lot easier too.
Okay, that's a great idea. And I'm sure a lot of people don't think of that because they just wait to get a contract and let the buyer do the inspection and then get surprised with things that the seller might not even know about. So
yeah, exactly.
So how do you go about your approach in pricing a home to, obviously make sure it sells quickly, obviously at the best possible price? What's your approach to all of that?
Sure. Well, so the first step is definitely analyzing recent sales of comparable homes in the area. So that's going to cover the appraisal side of things. I want to make sure that when we get to the appraisal step in the process, that we're going to be within a range that is likely to appraise for the contract price. The other thing is the market conditions. So when the market is really heavily favoring sellers, our pricing strategy will be different than a more balanced market like we're in right now, or even a market that's more favorable to buyers. So that's going to have a lot to do with how we price. But also, it's not just about what it might appraise for, it's about the competition. So we need to position your house in a place where it's going to accomplish your goals. So for instance, if you price your house at the very top position of your competition, then yours will probably be one of the last ones to sell.
Right.
If we price it way at the bottom, it's probably going to be the first one to sell. But depending on what your goals are and how quick you want to be out, is really going to fall into where we place that among the competition.
So it's kind of a little bit of everything that, like you said, sellers' needs, but being competitive, also making sure that your price is competitive for the condition of your house and everything too. So there's a lot of factors that go together to get to that right price.
Yeah, it's not just I like telling people that when you hire a real estate agent, are you expecting the house to sell for a fixed value, or are you expecting it to sell in a range of value based on the skills of your agent?
Sure.
And that's really what it comes down to, is there is a range. And so the skills of your agent, if you rely on them to guide you, then they'll make sure that you get in the right space.
That's good to know. That's definitely good to know. And so how are you leveraging your tools, and resources at your brokerage to give a seller the edge, because obviously every company does something a little different or whatever, but what's the advantages of somebody going to you and working with you and your brokerage?
Sure. Well, when I set out to become a real estate agent, I looked into several companies and landed at Krylike for a number of reasons. But one of those that I find really helps my clients is providing. Krylike provides access to just cutting edge technology, extensive market data. I have access to data outside of just the MLS I belong to. A lot of agents just have the data that's in the MLS, but I have data in Krylike's entire footprint to look at. So it helps give me a much better picture of the market. But also we have comprehensive marketing tools. I actually have an in-house marketing department that can help market my clients' homes to make sure that I reach the right buyers faster. And really all this just leads to quicker sales and better offers.
Wow. So that's awesome. So professional photos you do and everything, and all the virtual tours?
Absolutely. Professional photos, virtual tours, targeted ads to make sure that we're capturing a wide audience. Along with that, Krylike, our extensive network of 3,200 plus agents and 141 offices. And we're also partnered with the leading real estate companies of the world, which pushes our data out to 550 of the top brokerages in the world in over 70 countries.
So much farther reach than just right here in Cleveland and
yes,
our surrounding counties.
Yeah, and a lot of people are moving into our area, especially like Volkswagen and places. We've got people moving from overseas here, so we're giving our listings kind of a head start where they've already had a chance to see them.
Well, that's awesome to know. Yeah, definitely. That sounds like a great advantage. So the client-centric approach, you've been in it for a number of years, so can you share a story, where your dedication made a significant difference in the sale and, how you're able to save the day or whatever it might be, but something that was really significant that you feel?
Sure. I think the most significant example of that, I was selling a house in Southeast Bradley County, the Southeast Bradley County is kind of known for being a problem area with septic systems. So we made it past inspections, but the appraiser noticed that the drain field was wet and wanted that checked out before he would pass that. So We called a septic company out. We had them pump the septic tank. It was a 1,000-gallon septic tank, but they pumped 2,000 gallons out of it because it kept filling with water.
Oh, wow.
So that filled the truck. They couldn't take any more out, and the tank filled back up all the way to the brim. So from there, we knew we had an issue, and I called the state inspector to have them come out and take a look at it and help us with a solution. Right. My suspicion was correct in that they would not approve a replacement system. So at that point, the question to them was, well, what do we do from here if you're not going to approve another system?
Sure.
So they said, well, it's just not going to perk for another system. So I'm not sure what you do, but, our option for a new system is out. So I thought about it for a little while, and what part of the problem was there was drainage from neighboring properties that was coming onto this property in the backyard and settling in that drain field. So I kind of developed a plan where we would do a French drain system around the entire drain field.
Okay.
And then we would also put in a second tank that would be for gray water only and reroute all the gray water from the house there. And so I called the state inspector back, gave her that idea, and she said, yeah, I'd be okay with that. I'd sign off on that. Okay. So we were able to get that done. It was a little over $8,000, but I actually was also able to find a grant to help my client, wow. And so they were less than $2,000 out of pocket for that, and we saved the sale.
Saved the deal.
Yeah, wow. Actually the agent, I thought this was kind of cool, but the agent on the other side told my client that if I hadn't have been the listing agent on this deal, it wouldn't have closed.
Yeah, so that's an example of going above and beyond and making sure that it's not just a yes or no answer, that there's always a solution to something.
Always a solution. You just got to think outside the box and get it done.
Yeah, definitely. And I give you credit for that because that's not easy to do because a lot of people just throw their hands up and be like, I have no idea what to do, and just walk away from it. So.
I don't like not knowing what to do. So,
well, like we said, there's always a solution, right? You just got to
right.
take your time, be patient, and you're going to figure that out.
That's
know.
Right.
So. Let's talk a little bit about your expertise, and what you've done in this business, obviously, and obviously there's certifications I'm sure that you've had. So, any certifications you want to talk about and how they've gone to enhance your ability that helps you serve your clients, like what you just talked about there, and other things that you've done for your clients.
Sure. So, I've actually got several certifications and designations. I think probably the two or three that I'll point out would be. I've got my ABR designation, which stands for Accredited Buyers Representative. And basically that just gives me specialized knowledge in representing buyers. But I also have an SRS, Seller Representative Specialist designation, which gives me advanced skills for representing sellers as well. I've also earned my GRI and Master GRI. That's Graduate Realtor or Realtor Institute, which the best way I can explain it is after you go to undergrad in college, then you go for your master's, and then you go for your doctorate. And that's kind of what that is. GRI is 32 hours. Master GRI is another 32. And it just covers all aspects of real estate, from law to finance to everything else. And it just makes sure that I'm able to give the highest level of knowledge and expertise to my clients.
Yeah, and I commend you for that because a lot of people don't understand in the real estate business of you get your license and they think that's just it. And the public doesn't understand it like you're talking about here, that higher level of education, training that is going to bring that expertise to the table for your clients that you're working with.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I never thought I would be a managing broker of my office, but after 3 years, which you have to be an agent for 3 years to even get a broker's license, but I was asked to be the managing broker after that third year. And I think a lot of that attributes to I had hundreds of hours in my first 3 years, even though you're only required to do 16 a year.
Right.
I had hundreds because I was I wanted to know how to do my job in the best way I could. And education was my way of getting the knowledge to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So being knowledge hungry is definitely a good thing.
Yes, definitely.
So you mentioned your leadership and becoming the broker too after 3 years, which is commendable. So how does your leadership role influence your real estate practice?
Sure. Well, I'm involved in a lot of different leadership roles. I'm on the MLS board, so I'm able to stay on the forefront of industry changes. I'm currently serving as the MLS president, which, I'm constantly working with and networking with top professionals in our area. So that gives me the relationships that I need to work with these folks in deals with my clients. I'm on the state professional standards committee, and also the managing broker, which helps me with different scenarios. It puts different scenarios in front of me because every deal is different, and the more scenarios that I can be involved in, the more nuanced things that I get experience in that I'm able to help with certain issues through the transaction. But all this, gives me knowledge from top agents and brokers in Tennessee, in the Mid-South with Crowlike, and really just all over the nation. That benefits my clients, helps expand my resources, and gives me what I think is a unique perspective on trends and emerging opportunities too.
Well, it sounds like, it opens up your book of knowledge even in a much broader role than what, talking about the designation classes and that.
Sure.
Let's back up for just one quick second to
Yeah.
explain to our audience, not everybody might understand it, but MLS. Tell them what that is. Tell them what that acronym means.
Yeah, so the MLS stands for the Multiple Listing Service. And what that does is that helps agents cooperate with each other. So when you list with me and I put in the MLS, that means not just my office, but everyone gets to see it. All agents, no matter what office they're in, no matter where their office is located at, if they're a member of that MLS, they're able to see the data that I put in there. So it really helps us cooperate together to get your property sold as fast as possible.
So the multiple listing service is for the Realtor member, right, to be able to put that listing in.
That's correct.
So if I'm working with you to find a house, would you say that the MLS has better information than just vague information that I could find on the web? Like, is it more current information? Is it, obviously more realistic? Because there's so many websites nowadays that you can find all this information. Sometimes I find that some information is already outdated, right? So is the MLS up to date? Does it keep everything up to speed?
Yeah, so the MLS is actually the most up-to-date and the most accurate place that you can find that information. One of the things that happens from the MLS is how it gets to Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, all these places, is it goes from the MLS, and that information is transmitted to those different places.
Okay.
The problem is that there are hundreds of MLSs throughout the country, and what happens is each MLS has a different way of categorizing their data based on the area that they're in.
Okay.
So these large companies have to take all of that information and try to suss it out and try to put it in the right place. But it's not always going to, show the true picture.
Okay.
So a lot of times people will say, hey, I saw on Zillow that this has blah, 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 but when I actually look in the MLS, I see that that's not correct.
Okay. So some data out there might be not up to speed.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
And you can verify all that for me as a realtor, which is great. So a little bit as we end towards our show here, community involvement. I know a lot of realtors give back. So how does your community involvement influence your work as a real estate agent, and what have you been involved in?
Yeah, so I think being involved in the community really helps keep me grounded and helps me to keep connected to the people that I serve. I serve on the board of the Caring Place, and doing that has really helped me understand the needs and the challenges that are in our community. And I think it makes me a better, more empathetic agent.
Sure.
And also it's really my way of giving back to the community that has supported me in my business, this almost 8 years so far. So I really like being involved. I like giving back. And so I may be, I may be a little too involved. I am in a lot of different things, but I really feel like each of the things that I'm involved in is really important to my business and to our community.
Yeah, and being a realtor, obviously, giving back to the community is important. But it doesn't mean just being a realtor that those are the only people you need to, have to give back. But it's important for everybody to give back. But the community gives back to the realtors all the time, and I always think it's great when I hear realtors that are stepping back up and giving back to their community as well, too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is something where nationwide, realtors are generally more involved in their communities than any other group. Right. And I think that is an important part. It's not just about people who are wanting to buy and sell a home. It's about the community as a whole, and it's about helping people to achieve that homeownership dream. If that's what they want, then we need to be involved in the community, and we need to find out what the struggles are, what may be blocking people's access to housing, and be involved in actively coming up with a solution.
Well, and as the saying goes, housing is a right, not a privilege, and everybody should have the right to have a home. And
yes,
the Caring Place is a great place. I know they just opened up their new facility.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so that is just hopefully to help more of the people that are struggling, because we see people on the streets obviously struggling, but we don't all know their stories.
That's right.
So getting involved, like you said, you could start to learn to understand what their story is, and there's probably a different path of help that each person needs. It's not all the same.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's roll back just one quick second. We got a couple minutes left here, but as MLS president, just touch on that. What kind of things do you do as the MLS president? Do you oversee the board is what you're doing? Are you overseeing the system as far as that?
Yeah, so on the MLS side of things, basically what I'm doing is I'm making sure that we have the tools and the systems in place so that all agents who are a member of the MLS are able to have access to information. They're able to have tools that keep them safe. They're able to have tools that assist in scheduling showings and all these different things that are intricate parts of what we do. Sure. I want to make sure that the agents are equipped to do the very best job that they can while doing it in a safe way and doing it in an effective way. So that's basically my role as the president, is to lead the board that all have a part in bringing those things to our entire association.
That's awesome, which then in turn helps them serve their clients a lot better and more efficiently.
Yeah, we all work together. This is not a mindset of where, like, if we help somebody else, that we're, like a scarcity mindset.
Right.
If we help somebody else, then that's going to take away from our business.
Yeah.
We're a lot better together than we are separate. And so that's one of the things that I love about being MLS president, is I get to work together with other people from other companies, and make it just better.
Yeah, and collaboration. And that's awesome, because, nobody should have to feel, guarded and, scared that something is going to be taken away from them.
That's correct, yeah.
So give again our audience your contact information so they can find you and reach out to you.
Sure. Once again, Jonathan Kraft with Kraft Realtors, and my phone number is 423-284-8004. You can find me on my website at rightmovetn, like Tennessee.com, or jonathan@rightmovetn.com for the email.
That's awesome. Well, Jonathan, we appreciate you being here today on our Real Estate Roundup, and wish you all the best. And if you guys are looking for a great realtor, give Jonathan a call or email him, and he'll be happy to take care of you.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Do you imagine a career with flexibility and limitless income potential? It's possible by becoming a realtor. The River Counties Association of Realtors, located right here in Cleveland, Tennessee, is ready to help you unlock your potential. We're your go-to resource for guiding you to obtain your Tennessee real estate license. We're more than just realtors. We're a vital part of our community. Partnering with local charities, we work tirelessly to make a difference. Join the River Counties Association of Realtors today, where your career can thrive and community can too. Visit rivercounties.com or call 423-476-5912. Your new path awaits.